Hi, I'm Daryl Patton, the Southern Herbalist. If there's one question I get asked more than any other question when I'm doing groups out in the woods is, have you ever heard of eating poison ivy leaves to immunize you to poison ivy? And I always say, well, yeah, of course. It's something I do every year. And there's always a mixed reaction. Some people are skeptical. Some people say, you'll kill yourself. Other people say, well, isn't it dangerous? Or even, how do I do it? And when I was just a little kid, I had a terrible case of poison oak out west when my dad was in the military. And if it could close up on me, it shut down. My eyes swelled, mouth, nose, everything was just affected. It was terrible. And ever since then, I've been extremely allergic to poison ivy. But when I first began learning herbs, and my mentor, Tommy Bass, and I were out walking in the woods one day, I said, Tommy, what can I do about not catching poison ivy so much? I'm getting it 6-7 times a year out here in the woods. And he said, well, son, just eat the leaves. And I looked at him thinking, you're crazy. And he said, son, all you have to do is just pick the leaves when they're the size of a mouse's ear. Don't touch your lips. Swallow it on down. Do it 2 or 3 times a week. And in about 2 weeks, you'll be immunized to poison ivy, and you won't ever catch it no more. Now, of course, I thought this was funny coming from somebody who wasn't allergic to poison ivy and would reach out and take a big old poison ivy vine and cut it down with his bare hands and a knife. But I trusted him, believed him completely that, if he told me something worked from his 81 years of experience, that it probably worked. So I went out the first time and did as he told me. And what he said to do was to pick it with a piece of bread. Don't touch your lips. Swallow it, and once it got in your mouth, it wouldn't break you out. So I went out in the woods, my little piece of bread, took a poison ivy leaf, pinched it off. My heart was just pounding. I thought, oh man, I'm about to poison myself. But I trusted Tommy. And so I did that, and I didn't fall over and die. A couple days later, I went out and did it again. Still didn't die. So after that, I was beginning to gain a little bit of confidence. And I kept doing this for about 2 weeks. And as I say, sure enough, I found that unless I just wallowed in poison ivy, picking it with my hands, I don't ever catch it anymore. The worst I might get is 1 or 2 little blisters, and I'm in it constantly. I'm talking all the time I'm in poison ivy. And I've been doing this now for about 25 years, and the longer I do it, I find that I'm becoming less sensitive to poison ivy as a result of taking this. Now, what I do instead of using the bread method, which you can do, or you can just simply turn around, pick a small leaf, just chew it. Be careful, the tips of your fingertips aren't too bad about getting poison ivy. And just don't touch your lips. And you can do that if you want to risk it. That's up to you. Or you can just take a pinch of bread, pinch it off, and just take it that way. But what I do now is I'll take the leaves, put them in an empty gelatin capsule, let it dry for a day or two because the moisture will warp the capsule, and then take one every day for about 2 weeks. And that just helps me to remember to take them instead of, well, did I take it 2 days ago, or is it time to take one? And I'll take it just every day. And I found that it gives me about a year's worth of immunity. I have seen some people get 2 years and even 3 years worth of immunity from this. With me, it lasts about a year, so I'll do it every spring. This is right now mid-April, early to mid-April. And so I'll do this as soon as they start coming out. Now, I don't normally use them just when they're the size of a mouse's ear, because you see how some of these are bigger. I'll just pick off the tips. And that's about what you get with your tweezers on the tip of the leaf is about enough to use. Throw it in that capsule, just let it warp for a day or two, and then it'll dry out and be firm again. Take it, take a glass of water, swallow it on down. Don't like taking capsules. And that's all there is to it. And the neat thing about doing poison ivy is because the poison in it, the toxin, is called urushiol, this gives you an immunity to poison oak and poison sumac, since they both have urushiol in it. Now, I know you're thinking, this is crazy. You're going to break out somewhere in your body, because you've always heard, don't burn poison ivy branches and the leaves, the vines. And that's true, because the oils will vaporize and get in your lungs, and it will really mess you up. But taking it this way, in my opinion, in my experience, it works wonderfully. And I can't tell you to do this. This is up to you if you ever want to test this out. But you'll find a lot of old-timers believed in this and did it. I've even heard of loggers out west who use it. And so it's much more commonly used than you might think. And it's just a wonderful way to avoid having to live on cortisone injections or cortisone pills for several days, because they're terrible for your liver. And you just go out, get out in the woods, pick you some leaves, do it at least 2 or 3 times a week, if not every day, for 2 weeks, and you'll be amazed at the results. And this is one of those things where you really need to walk with somebody who knows what they're doing and do this, because if you pick a big leaf, and these are actually pretty small. I did this one time showing off to some Boy Scouts, picked a big leaf, stuck it in my mouth, chewed it down, and said, see, you won't break out. And the next day it felt like my palate in my mouth, I had burnt it on hot coffee. Didn't blister, no pustules, none of that stuff, but it just felt really strange for about 2 or 3 days. And so I learned, well, don't tempt fate when it comes to a big leaf, because there's so much rushiol in it. But the small leaves, the content is just about the right amount to give you that immune response that's proper to where you don't break out and yet not cause any problems. And I've never had any problems with it. Never. So get out, take a walk in the woods, try this and see what you think. Do this at your own risk, but I've done it for 25 years and I'm a firm believer in it.